Hi, this is Tom Stone. It's my pleasure to welcome everyone to this demonstration call. This is with Ian. He's in Australia, New South Wales, Australia, and we're going to work on an issue of chronic pain that he has. He's been having this for, how long has this been going on for you, Ian?
About 10 years now.
Oh, wow. That's a long time to be suffering from something. So we're going to see if we can make a difference with pure awareness techniques. We have had some remarkable successes with other people with seemingly, incurable chronic pain. And, I talked with Ian just a little bit earlier, and the doctors don't understand. They don't know what the cause of it is, but he said he's been, basically a laborer most of his life, and has just kind of worn himself out. So there's clearly some real accumulation of stress that's at the basis of this problem. And so we're going to see if, with our approach, with our techniques, if we can reduce that stress and lower the pain level. That's our intention. So tell me, Ian, if you had to quantify this pain on a scale of 0 to 10, 10 being the worst, like really, really bad, 0 being no pain, what would you say, like now, your pain level?
I'm about an 8 most of the time, so it doesn't really matter what I'm doing, laying, sitting, whatever. Yeah.
Just bad all the time. Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, that gives us a baseline. Let's see if we can drive that number down. Now, the technique that we use, you watch the orientation videos, so you have a little bit of a sense of this. The technique that we use is something for completing incomplete experiences of trauma or emotional pain that's held in the body. And we do that in a special way. We do that by, it's actually incredibly simple. We do that by just putting our attention right into the center of the strongest part of the worst pain that you feel. Now, seems counterintuitive, seems like, well, why would you want to do that? Certainly the 3-year-old in us doesn't like this idea, doesn't think it's such a good idea. However, the problem is that when we're very little, we all get emotionally overwhelmed many, many times, everybody. It's universal. And nobody likes it. Everybody hates it. And so everybody develops this habit of trying to suppress their feelings, push them down, like sweep them under the rug. The problem is when you sweep it under the rug, it's still under the rug. And if it accumulates and you get more and more of it, it doesn't really, starts to create a bump in the rug, or it starts to be too noticeable, and it can develop into things like chronic pain. So what I'm going to do is to show you how to do this and guide you through the process. And we're going to do it a few times and see if it makes a difference. If it does, that means we're on the right track, and you need to get good at being able to do that so you can continue doing it on your own, or, and I have resources for you, ways of doing that. I've got an app that you can guide yourself through the techniques by yourself, which is great. I'll give you all of that information, okay? Yeah. So let's get started. I'm gonna test to see if this is the appropriate level at which to work on this topic. It is, okay. 100% resolvable at this level. Oh, wow. This is good news, okay? This means we have the potential for a real breakthrough, okay? So that's encouraging. Now, the muscle testing I'm doing with my fingers, I'm testing on your behalf, and I just want to check that's okay with you, right? Because
Yep.
No, okay. It's just how I work. So what we're going to do is go after the deepest, most fundamental energy patterns held in your body that are at the real root cause of your problem. Okay? Yep. Because we want to get sort of, like you could say, the most bang for the buck. We want to get something that's going to really, really get to the root of it, because we want to not only do we want to resolve it, we want to resolve it in such a way that it doesn't come back.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4. We have 4 of them that are kind of like the central core root cause ones. Okay. Now, some of them may be right in the area where you feel the pain, where you have the sensation of pain. Some of them could be in areas that are different than that. We don't know. But your body knows, okay? Your body knows where it is. And that's why we're using the muscle testing, because this gives me access to the experiential wisdom in your body. And that's going to allow us to guide the whole process of the session, okay? So this is the principal places where the pain is. You were explaining to me a little bit before we started the recording. They're in your back mainly, right?
Yeah, the main area, well, yeah, it's all through my back from my neck right down to my lumbar region.
Okay.
From fractures to bulging discs to narrowing of the channels where the nerves run through, all that kind of thing. So there's a fracture on T8, and around that area is the main cause of the problem.
Okay. So T8 is like about up in here, huh? Upper back.
No, mid thoracic, mid back.
Mid back.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
So would you say that mid back region is the place where the pain is the worst?
Yes.
Okay. So appropriate for us to start with that. Yeah. These apparent mechanical causes of the pain are in fact the real root cause of the problem. Now, they're an expression of the problem manifesting itself at a physical level. Yeah, but the real problem is the stress. And this is why the doctors can't help you. It's because they don't have any way of dealing with that. Okay. But we do. Fortunately, we do. Yeah? And as I mentioned, we're getting really quite remarkable successes with this. So let's give it a try.
Yeah.
So the techniques are easiest to do in with your eyes closed, because you're not distracted by the visual, perception of things. So if you keep your eyes closed throughout the exercise, we'll take a break now and then and open the eyes and talk a little bit, and then we'll go back and do more. Okay. And we have 4 key ones that we're going to go after today, and let's see what happens. Okay, so go ahead and close your eyes. And the first of these root causes of the pain is in fact located where the pain feels the worst. Yeah, it's right in that T8 area that you're talking about, mid-back area. So you're very, very familiar with it. You know right where it is. So go there and allow yourself to notice that there's a kind of field of energy there where the sensation of the pain is. It's not just a point. It's kind of radiates out from there a little bit. And there's a place in that field where the energy is the most concentrated, the most intense, which is typically right in the center. And if you allow yourself to feel that, what we want to do is to get as close to it as we can without it being overwhelming, and put your attention right into the center of the strongest part of the sensation of the pain. Now, don't try and push it away. Don't try and make it go away. Don't try and do anything to it. Just simply notice it. Now, it's not difficult. It's pretty straight, simple. It's just we're not used to doing that. We're used to trying to avoid it, right? Because it's painful. Right? But it turns out that the need that the body has is for the completion of some incomplete stressful experience from the past that was just too much to handle at the time, like you said, overworking or whatever caused it. And so the body's been longing to have just the simple attention of your awareness on it so that the process of completing this incomplete experience could start. So that's what we're doing, is we're starting to complete something that's incomplete. And that requires that we allow ourselves to just gently feel and notice that central part of energy. Now, at first, because you're really allowing yourself to feel it, this is going to make it seem stronger than normal. But you'll notice, first thing you'll notice is it doesn't kill you to do it. It's just a sensation, however unpleasant it may be. And so you just keep your attention gently right on that central, strongest part of the energy. And the apparent level of severity, you were saying it's about an 8. That apparent level of severity may stay more or less the same, even maybe a little bit elevated because of putting attention so directly on it. That's okay. You just be a little bit patient and just gently notice the central strongest part. And after some time, sometimes it takes a little while, but that's okay too. After some time, the intensity level will start to diminish and become a little bit less. And when that happens, let me know. And it's okay if it takes a while. Just don't worry about the timing.
Yeah, a little bit less.
Ah, excellent. This means you're doing it exactly right. Okay. So now, if it's less, you can actually bring your awareness a little closer to it now. And what that'll do is that'll make it seem stronger just because you're closer to it, not because it is stronger. In fact, it's actually weaker now. But you've successfully begun the process of starting to complete the incomplete experience of the stress that's been held there. And we want to just continue with doing exactly the same thing. Focus your attention right into the center of the strongest area. Don't try and make it go away or do anything to it. Just notice it. And after a time, it'll soften again. And when it does, let me know. And again, there's absolutely no rush. You just take your time. Don't feel any need to force anything or do anything to it. It's just that gentle, simple noticing with your attention right into the center of the strongest area of the sensation. That's what seems to really, amazingly enough, just do wonders for completing the incomplete experience of the stress that's held there. So no worries about the timing. And when it does eventually soften some more, you just let me know.
Yeah, it feels a little less. Yeah.
Okay, very good.
Yeah.
So everything is going exactly on target. You're doing it correctly. So each time it softens, immediately bring your awareness closer to it. And just keep doing that. Refocus right into the center. And when it softens a little bit, it's kind of like clicking in for a closer view on Google Maps or something like that. You know, it's like just bringing it kind of magnifies. And so we want to keep doing that. Each time it softens, just get closer to it and closer to it like that. So keep doing that and let's see what happens.
It's come down a couple of notches.
I got the video back. Can you hear me?
Yep, yep.
Oh, good.
Down,
Okay, good.
down to about a 4. It's come down.
Oh, wow. Wow, that's great. Down to a 4. That's about half. Wow.
Yeah, about half.
Excellent. Yeah. So you may reach different stages where it seems to take longer at a particular level. And don't worry about that. There's probably layers of stress in these locations. Yeah. And so just take your time. There's no rush at all. Your body has its own rate at which it will allow the completion of these stressful energy patterns that are there to occur. And so we just have to go with the body's timing. We can't force it. So just go ahead and continue. You're doing great. I lost your audio and video there for a while, but you're back. That's good.
Yeah.
We're good. So go ahead. I'm just here with you. No problem.
Yeah.
Take all the time you need.
Okay.
It's not difficult, right?
No, I'm just doing what you're instructing me to do. Yeah. Just
Perfect.
Bringing my attention to it.
Yeah, you're a good student. Very good. So when you have this experience of it feeling like it's stuck, what this means is that because the progress was fairly good so far, now you've reached a level where there's more energy stored at this level, and it's simply going to take longer. But you've already, because of the previous experience, developed an expectation that it should be going faster because it was going faster, right? So don't worry about that. Just understand the different layers of the stress may have different amounts of energy that needs to be completed residing there. And so it just takes a little longer. Let me just test it. There's some gatekeeper, some other barrier. No, there's some other thing causing this slowness. It's just a lot of energy. Yeah, there's just a lot of energy.
Okay.
So don't worry about it. Just have a little bit of patience with it and just hang in there. And gradually, you'll see, gradually, eventually, it will soften some more. Just don't try hard. Okay. This is not something that works from trying hard. Okay. Okay, go ahead. Let's continue. And yeah, and if you have any kind of concern or anything like that, go ahead and let me know, because you see, you're learning to do something that's the exact opposite of what you've been doing all your life. Okay. You've been trying to avoid feeling this pain, right? Not embracing it and allowing yourself to feel it like this. This is new. And so we're going against a whole lifetime of doing the opposite. So it's no wonder it takes a little time to get the hang of it, and certainly question it based on all your previous experiences. But you're doing great. I mean, if we're down to a 3 and we started at 8 and we've only been, we haven't been that long at it. This is fantastic, actually. Yeah, this is really good.
When I do my healing sessions for other people, I have no pain in my body.
Okay.
I actually don't feel any pain whatsoever until I come out of the space with the other person and then come back into my own body.
Well, that's interesting. So you have ways of being able to kind of circumvent it. That's terrific. But you can't be doing that all the time. So it's great that we're adding a new dimension to that so that we can actually resolve it. This is really good. We're doing great. So go ahead back in, find the center of whatever's left, put your attention right into the center of it, and just notice it, and don't have any expectations or concern about the timing. Softening up a little bit.
Yeah, it's come down another 1 at least.
Oh, superb. 3/4 of the way there. This is great. Just to let you know what people's experience is, as you get near the end and the energy is almost gone, then the experience will start to change. It'll start to feel like the energy is kind of breaking up or dissipating or dissolving. Some people describe it as kind of like the fog burning off in the morning sun. It just sort of dissipates. And then the energy just kind of moves away, and you're just left in kind of quiet, silent kind of place. And all the energy is gone. And if and when we get to that point, which is looking likely because it's going very well, then when all the energy is gone, then you can open your eyes, we'll take a little break.
Okay.
Well, you just keep going exactly the way you're doing it until there's no more energy. The basic concept is we're feeling the essence of this energy, which is why we feel it right in the central, strongest part, because that's where the essence of it seems to live. We're feeling the essence of the energy so thoroughly, so completely, that there's nothing left to feel. That's the basic idea.
I'm very sound sensitive as well.
Say again?
I'm very sound sensitive. So as I'm doing it, I'm hearing everything else around me as well. So it's like I have to sort of put all that aside and keep refocusing on that spot.
That's right. That's exactly right. And that's exactly what you do, is you just sort of notice it, but don't mind it. Don't have a reaction to it. It's just a tiny short-term distraction. And then you're right. Just bring your focus of attention right back to the center of the intensity of the sensation. Yeah, you're doing, and it's perfect. You may have even other thoughts that disrupt you as well as sounds. That's okay. The key is if you focus immediately into getting closer when it gets softer, that will tend to avoid the experience of being distracted by the noises and the thoughts. Because it'll keep the engagement with the sensation quite high, and that's the most efficient way to get the completion process finished. Give me a little progress report. How are you doing?
Yeah, it's relaxing in there now. It's feeling not quite totally there, but it's much better than it was to begin with.
Okay, really good. So it might be down to like a 1 or something, huh?
Yeah, about a 1.
Okay, so that's terrific. We're making incredible progress. 7/8 of the way there. Let's just keep going.
Okay,
All
that's
right.
feeling.
How's it feel now?
Yeah,
Okay.
pretty good. Yeah, interesting.
Terrific.
As that last little bit went, then it refocused on another part of the body that was in pain. It was interesting.
Well, this is the second one. This is where the body's calling you to go next. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Okay, great. So go ahead and go right where the body was calling to you to go. It knows where you need it. So let's go there. This is the appropriate next place to go. Yep. That's muscle testing is correct. I'm going with the body's wisdom about it. So go ahead and do exactly the same thing. You're getting the hang of it now. You just focus on the central strongest part. Get closer when it gets softer. Immediately get closer. And that's all you do.
Okay.
You're moving around.
Feeling better there now on that spot.
Okay. Does it feel like all the sensation is gone?
Yeah, pretty much. Yep.
Hey, you're getting good at this, Ian. This is great.
Yeah.
Okay. So see if your attention is drawn to the next one. If not, I have a way to help you find it.
Yeah, up in the neck. Yep.
Okay. This is where we should go for the next. Yeah, that you got it. Let's go there. See, some of the tension that's held there is a reaction to that central one that we completed first. It's like your body sort of clenches up in kind of a reaction to holding back from feeling that pain that was there. Huh? So that can cause these sort of secondary areas of the pain. It's quite common. So we'll go ahead and do the same thing with this one. Find the central strongest area and just feel down into it just as you've been doing until it's complete.
Yeah, that feels good.
All right.
Yeah.
Terrific. One more to go.
One more to go.
Yeah. Scan the whole area in your back, see where it still calls to you.
No, I'm not sure.
Okay, so I'll help you find it. This one may be a little bit so well suppressed that you can't experience it. That's okay. So there's a simple way to find it. It's called the locate technique. And what you do is you start by, noticing out your window, it's a partly cloudy day there in Australia. And when you look up at the sky on a partly cloudy day, you can see the clouds and you can see the sky. And it's, of course, totally easy to see the sky. You just look off to the side of the clouds and there it is. It's always there in the background. Now, it's a good analogy for what happens when thoughts occur in the mind. The thoughts are kind of like the clouds, and the background of silence is like the sky. We're not looking for clouds and sky, but when you have a thought, you can look off to the side of the thought and notice that there's a kind of emptiness or quietness in the background. And that emptiness or quietness is your awareness. It's the awareness you're using to have the thought. Now, normally we don't pay much attention to our awareness because there's nothing there. It's kind of uninteresting in a way. But in this instance, when we're wanting to find energy in the body, if we start noticing that background of silence, and you do it repeatedly, each time a thought comes, you look off to the side, you notice the quietness, you do it again. Now, you don't stay in the quietness a long time because another thought comes along and kind of interrupts it, right? But then you look off to the side of that thought, and again, you notice the quietness. Now, as you do that repeatedly, you start to get a kind of sense of the quietness, more so than ever, because normally you don't pay any attention to it, right? So as you get the sense of that, the value of doing that is that then we can tell the body, okay, body, show me the next energy that's at the basis of this chronic pain. And there's nothing in the way of allowing you to feel it because you're just in that quietness, okay? And so it's the perfect preparation for being. Now, you also have to have just a kind of gentle intention that when the body shows it to you, you're going to allow yourself to feel it. Okay? Because you got a lifetime of deciding the other way. I don't want to feel it. Okay? So take that attitude, close your eyes, start noticing your thoughts, looking off to the side of the thoughts and noticing the silent background, and just keep doing that each time you have a thought. And then you'll reach a point where you have a kind of sense of that quietness. Okay, so go ahead and do that. And when you do that, pretty much immediately the body will show it to you.
Okay.
And don't have any expectation of where it is. It may end up being someplace unexpected, and that's completely okay.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I got it. Yeah.
Okay, good. So now we do the same thing we were doing before. It's called the in technique, where we go into the energy, just noticing the central strongest area. Bring your awareness as close to it as you can get without it being overwhelming. And just keep feeling down into it to completion. Those deep sighs are a good sign.
I have to keep checking in where it is because as I sit still, I can't feel it so much. So.
Oh, this is a good thing. Yeah, I can see it moving around a little bit. That's what we call a provocation test. I was going to actually have you do that. You just sort of move around and see if you can feel where it is again. That's completely fine. And when you can feel it again, a little bit still there, then you can go ahead and focus on it. That's great. You're doing just perfect.
Yeah. In one of the ribs there, I'd forgotten I had broken ribs at one point.
Oh, wow. I had that too. That's so incredibly painful.
Yeah.
I cracked a collarbone and broke 2 ribs in a bike accident. Oh my God. Pain on a scale of 0 to 10 was a 20. You know what I'm talking about if you broke a rib. Yeah, that's painful stuff.
Yeah, playing football.
Ah, yeah, sure. Probably going to have some significant increased range of motion after this.
Yeah, it feels good. Yeah.
All right, terrific.
Feels good. Yeah, feels clear.
Very good. Okay, go ahead and open your eyes. Great, this is great. So you may have some other areas of tension in your body that are the kind of, like I was saying earlier, kind of like the side effect of having the more central tight problems. You kind of have a tendency to kind of clench up in resistance to that. You know? So the ones that are left like that may just sort of start to resolve on their own because you don't need to be tightening up like that, okay? But if you notice something, if you notice something where it's been, you can just do exactly what we've done because you got the hang of it now. This is great. Now, you can also, I'll send you a link. You can also download that app. I have an app that you can use on your smartphone. You just swipe to the right on anywhere on the face of the app, and it'll give you the next audio instruction for what to do. And that way you can guide yourself through the experience at your own pace. It's terrific. It's a great little app. Okay, it's called Awaken Your Inner Greatness, and I'll send you a link to it.
Oh, okay, yep, thank you. Yeah.
I've got it in both Android and Apple platforms, so it's available for pretty much everything. So that's great. So that's something you can use as a kind of self-help follow-up. And okay, if you just kind of scan your body and you were at a pain level of 8, how's the pain level now?
Better 1 or 2 at the moment.
1 or 2. Okay. Okay. Now it's also okay. That's great. It's also the case that sometimes when the energy of the stress is gone, you may still feel some kind of sensation in the area, but it doesn't need more attention like what we were giving it. Okay? Oh. It's because the presence of the energy has actually kind of gnarled the tissues, like sort of twisted them, got them all kind of contorted. It's kind of like when you get a cramp in a muscle, and then the cramp goes away, and then you have afterwards there's a kind of ghost of the sensation. So there's like some unwinding of the tissues that actually is happening. So some of that's going on in this case. Yeah. So some of that's part of what's happening. That'll just kind of take care of itself and resolve over the next hours or day or two. So here's what we should do.
Yeah.
Let's give it a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
See how it goes, and we'll do a little follow-up call in a couple of weeks, and we'll see how it's going. Now, you mentioned you're doing healing work. What kind of healing work are you doing?
It's intuitive body work. It covers quite a lot of different varieties of things.
Yeah.
I'm very intuitive. As soon as I put my hands on a person's body, the body will talk to me, actually communicate with me. I see spirit around, I see spirit if they're, deceased people are there and they have issues with them. So it works on the emotional level as well as the psychic level. I've had some...
Yeah,
I feel privileged with some of the miracles that have occurred with people. Yeah, so I've been doing it for a long time. I don't know, 20-something years or even more.
Wow, that's really great. Well, if you're in that field, you might want to learn to get really good at this stuff and incorporate it into what you do. Because look what we did. I mean, you've been suffering from 10 years, and in less than an hour and a half, pretty well gone. That's pretty amazing.
Feeling much better.
Now, the thing that I like about this is I'm very intuitive as well, okay? And I could do more or less what you do. But what I like to do is I like to show people how to heal themselves.
Well, that's what it's about.
Because I can't follow them around and, take care of them all the time. I want them to be self-sufficient so that they can really, become completely not the victims of this kind of stress,
Yeah.
So if you're interested in learning that, I've got a course coming up very quickly, very soon. I'll send you the information about it. You can take a look. Yeah. And it's a course called Freedom from Illusions.
Oh, yeah.
And you learn 4 basic techniques. Today we use 2 of them. Okay, we use the in technique, and we use what's called the locate technique, which is what we use to find that last one. Okay, yeah. But there are 4 techniques that people learn, and you also learn how to do muscle testing. You know how to do muscle testing already?
Yes, I do. Yeah, I've gone through a lot of kinesiology.
Great. Okay, so I teach it in a way that helps people make it super reliable. But you're already very intuitive; it's probably reliable for you, so that's great. So anyway, some of it would be review for you, but some of you would learn. And then as soon as that course is completed, you go right into what's called a Freedom Practice Mentoring Group. And what you do is you do this thing called the Freedom Practice every morning for about 20 minutes. You go into the quietness and you just be there. And what happens is you start having thoughts. And you use the muscle test, the self-muscle test, to check to see which kind of thought it is. Because there are four kinds of thoughts that influence our decisions. We have practical thoughts like making a shopping list or getting directions, just kind of practical stuff. We have lots of those kind of thoughts. There's no emotional charge to them. They're perfectly fine. Okay? They're good, useful. Then we have intuitive thoughts, which you have plenty of because you're an intuitive guy. Everybody is actually. You're just not blocking the intuition. You're allowing it to be there, which is beautiful. I'm very similar. And those also don't have any emotional charge to them. They're just quiet, and they're just kind of like a knowing. You know exactly what that's like. You don't create them, you perceive them, right? Exactly. And then we have two not useful kinds of thoughts, and those are the ones caused by emotional pain or traumatic pain, like what we were just resolving. And when that kind of energy is in you and unresolved, it has a tendency to generate thoughts, okay? To be at the basis of thoughts. And then there's a fourth category, which is ego-based thoughts. And these are some of the trickiest ones because the ego makes us think that the thoughts that it generates are our thoughts. And so we're under the illusion that, but it's actually because it's an ego-based thought, there's a certain kind of emotional energy behind it. We call it reactive emotion, like an upset over an unmet expectation or some projection of a possible negative outcome onto the future. And people do this all the time. Everybody's deeply conditioned to do this stuff. Okay? Yeah. So the problem is that the ego-based thoughts and the emotional pain-based thoughts have a tendency, people don't distinguish them. They don't think about that there's something about their thoughts that isn't, that isn't right? That's not useful. And so there's a tendency to make decisions based on these emotionally charged ego and emotional pain-based thoughts, and they always are wrong, always wrong. They always lead you into something that just doesn't work, or even as worse as damaging in some way. So in the freedom practice, you muscle test for which kind of thought it is. And if it's an ego-based thought, you immediately do what's called the out technique. We didn't do that today, but you'll find it in the app. You can experiment with it in the app, okay? What we did is called the in technique. So if it's an emotional pain-based thought, you do the locate technique immediately, you find energy, and you resolve it. Now, then that's one less old, hidden, suppressed traumatic stress in your body that's now gone. Okay? Now, as you do that daily, you're just like rapidly cleaning out your inner emotional landscape. And what happens is you become more and more present. You become even more intuitive, if that's possible. And you start to be non-reactive to situations. You start to see things much more clearly. And you start to make more and more of your decisions based on the intuitive thoughts and less of them based on the disruptive emotion thoughts. So this is my foundational course that I have people go through. And what you do is every day you do that practice in the morning. And what happens is you naturally start to just find that during the day you start questioning your thoughts a little bit and you start testing them. It just naturally happens. Everybody kind of in their own timing. And as you do that, you say, oh, that might be an emotional pain-based thought. Yes, or that might be an ego-based thought. And if it is, you stop what you're doing, you do the technique immediately, and you resolve it. Now, what this does is this very rapidly cultivates very, very much increased level of emotional competence. You start to be really, really good at distinguishing which thoughts to act on and which thoughts to not act on, but to resolve the underlying illusory basis of them. Okay? This is a fantastic program. So it starts with a course called Freedom from Illusions. That gives you the basics. And then that rolls right into what's called the Freedom Practice. So when I send you the links about the app, when I send you the link, I'll also send you the links about the description of the program. You can take a look. And if you're interested, let me know. And it'd be great to have you in the program. You can learn to do this. So many people need this. And it's wonderful because you can get really good at it and even become a freedom practice mentor and mentor the groups like what I do. Kind of expand the scope of what you can offer. So I'll send you that.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I had an experience like that with a client who's about 30 years of age, and she suffered from sinus, really bad sinus problems all of her life. And it was the same. once I identified with the ego thought that she experienced, and she actually, when I said the words to her, she acknowledged that, yes, I do that. This is who I am. This is where I come from. Immediately, her nose tingled, and I saw her about a month later in the street, and she said, I haven't had a single bout of sinus ever since. And that was an ego.
You're already right onto this. This is fantastic. Yeah, well, Ed, that's great. If you're interested, I'd love to have you on my team. You know, I've got this mission of removing the pain of the world, and I think the nice thing is that I've been very fortunate to recognize how to do this stuff in such a simple, explainable way. You know, that it makes it possible now to teach, you know, huge numbers of people how to do this. So I'll send you the information. You can see if you're interested. And if you are, that'd be great. I'd love to have you involved. That'd be terrific.
Yeah.
Very good. Well, we made some terrific progress today. Fantastic.
Yeah, I do feel great. I do feel good at the moment. So, yeah.
Okay. And now, the thing is, now you know how to do this. So if you feel some twinges, something, just try it again.
Okay. Yep.
All right. Great. Very good. So I'll be in touch by email. We'll also set up a time for maybe a couple weeks so we can check in, see how you're doing. And then we might check in periodically over the next few months just to see everything's okay, because we want this problem to be permanently gone.
Yes, absolutely. Right?
Okay. Fantastic, man. Great job today.
Thank you.
Terrific to know you.
Yeah, you too. Nice to meet you. Thank you for the help.
You're very, very welcome. All right. We'll see you again soon.
All right. Thank you. Bye.
Take care now. Bye-bye.
Bye.